Thousand Islands National Park, located on the territory of two states at once, is represented by an area of 2,000 square kilometers of simply indescribable beauty. These are 1,864 islands scattered in a chaotic manner in the middle of the greatest river of the St. Lawrence, having different sizes. Some of them are paved with real highways, and some of them can't fit more than 2 trees. But each of them has its own history and even a secret about which tour guides are willing to tell. After all, this is the most popular place for lovers of green tourism, which is protected by UNESCO and is included in the list of the most unique phenomena of the biosphere. Hi everyone, glad to see you on my channel. Today, I will tell you about several islands, so enjoy viewing and watch until the end. This unique natural formation of Thousand Islands, stretching for 80 kilometers along the border of 2 North American states, Canada and the United States, along the Great St. Lawrence River, is the most beautiful place on the planet and deserves special attention. After all, looking at this splendor from a bird's eye view, you just wonder how this is possible. These are not only very picturesque places, but they are also almost all inhabited. The exception is the islands that have a very tiny area. According to the rules and criteria defined in this region, an island is a piece of land that is surrounded by water for 365 days a year. Moreover, it must contain at least 1 tree. Thus, the archipelago, which has the name of Thousand Islands, has 1,864 islands in its composition. The tour guides tell with great enthusiasm about a local legend that supposedly explains such a picturesque riot of nature in the middle of the river. It says that in ancient times, when the gods could show their mercy or severely punish people for disobedience or constant strife, such an event occurred near these places. When one of the supreme arbiters of fate got tired of enmity and human wars, he gave them his most beautiful garden. Of course, for a while the people calmed down and enjoyed life, but when the euphoria passed, disagreements and squabbles began again. Then the angry god simply took the garden he had given him, and when he flew past these places, he simply dropped it, and it, having shattered into many beautiful pieces, remained in the middle of the river. Therefore, such beautiful scattering of picturesque islands has been called the Divine Garden since ancient times. But in fact, the emergence of the archipelago is more prosaic and ordinary for Mother Nature. This area is part of the Canadian Shield, which rises high above sea level and has been washed by fast-flowing waters of a melting glacier for thousands of years. And for several millennia, the water simply eroded the solid rock to form a shallow hilly surface, filling all the formed lowlands with its flow. Over time, the peaks were covered with lush vegetation, turning into a beautiful picturesque archipelago. This explains the different area of islands and their remoteness from each other. Naturally, these places were the causes of constant disagreements and quarrels between the 2 countries. But by the mid-19th century, the parties came to an agreement, and now 2/3 of the area of the archipelago belongs to Canada and the rest to the USA. And once the states agreed, these islands began to be bought and people built on them magnificent villas, small houses, secret headquarters, and even palaces. Moreover, not only residents of these countries could become their owners, but also Europeans and everyone in general. After all, at first, even large tracts of land in the midst of the swirling waters of St. Lawrence could be purchased for a few $100s and tiny ones for mere pennies. Gradually, by the beginning of the 20th century, the archipelago turned into the most desirable and popular places for recreation and tourism. On the islands, country cottages and hotels, inns for different segments of the population and travelers began to spring up like mushrooms, which were popular among fishermen, hunters, and lovers of such an extraordinary holiday. And given the very complex underwater array of rock remains in a fairly decent depth, which in some places reaches 65 meters, this area attracts divers like a magnet. It is these depths that hide the wreckage of many ships, schooners and yachts that sank in different years and even centuries, and are now considered the best freshwater reserve in the world for those who like to explore the underwater world. That is why the local authorities warn the owners of large-sized watercraft at night not to try their luck, so as not to join those exhibits that are already resting on the bottom of the river. And during the day, it is advisable to be extremely careful. Among the current fans of ecotourism, the most popular are several islands which will be discussed later in this video. Watch with pleasure. Deer Island. This island was bought back in 1876 for only $175 and immediately it was given to the most secret Masonic lodge called Skulls and Bones. Fans of all the mysterious, who are fond of conspiracy theory, are sure that it is this hidden organization that controls the whole world. By the way, many believe that this is where all the threads of the conspiracy lead, which have been woven for more than 100 years. Such rumors are fueled by the fact that the territory of the residents cannot be entered under any pretext, and even approaching the island is strictly prohibited. Aerial photography confirms that in the depths of the island, there are ruins of ancient buildings and there are even tennis courts, which have already been completely captured by nature in the form of wild plants. Eyewitnesses claim that guests sometimes come here, and the rest of the time, it is under the vigilant protection of the American Border Service. Hart Island. A multi-millionaire George Bolt, who at the age of 14, arrived in the United States from Germany as a cabin boy without money and connections, who reached high financial heights, just fell in love with these fabulous places. That's why he bought one of the most beautiful and largest islands in the archipelago, which belongs to the States. He named his new purchase Hart Island and set about building a castle for his beloved wife. First of all, a watchtower, a power station, and many auxiliary buildings were built on the island, and when the work on the construction of the huge castle was in full swing, Bolt stopped construction and forgot about it forever. After all, at this time, his beloved wife died of an unknown illness. Therefore, from 1904 to 1970, the unfinished palace was abandoned until the authorities of the country had it bought. At the moment, the castle is fully restored and completed. There is an amazing museum, but you have to take note that only those people with an open American visa can get inside it, because right on the pier, there is a border checkpoint. Wolf Island. This largest island in the archipelago, stretching for 29 kilometers in length and stretching for 9 kilometers in width, which is home to more than 1,400 people, still has a name, Wolf Island. It has no special historical attractions, but the amazing nature makes up for this lack with a vengeance, especially since you can just stay in any of the hotels and have a great vacation or weekend. After all, it is here that the tourist infrastructure is very well developed. Lovers of historical ruins would do well to visit the nearby Carlton Island. There you would find what is left of Fort Haldimand, built by the British in 1779. Fort Haldimand, what is left of it, is located there, built by the British in 1779. Its amazing history simply fascinates tourists. This military fortification very absurdly and even shamefully fell in 1812 because it was captured by 3 American soldiers. Dark Island. This island is famous for the fact that it is home to the famous Singer Castle, which is open to tourists. Therefore, in all tours, it is mandatory to visit. Here, everyone can admire not only the luxurious decoration of the apartments, but they can also take photos against the background of magnificent nature and ancient buildings. Hub Island. With an area of only 306 square meters, this island is considered the smallest inhabited island in the world. On its rocky surface, the Sizeland family built a secluded house in 1950 to relax away from civilization. They call their creation just room enough. After all, they managed to squeeze their home in and even a small outdoor recreation area on its surface. But they still have to dream of peace and solitude, because every day crowds of tourists passing by the estate, shooting everything on video cameras, and constantly take pictures. Thousand Islands Bridge. Perhaps the biggest attraction of the entire vast territory of the archipelago was the international bridge which connected the two countries back in 1938. Although it is the smallest building in the world, connecting different states, but tourists just love it. After all, during its construction, observation towers were created, which offer a delightful view of the entire district. The only thing that experts warn in advance is the fact that if you decide to take a photo or videotape the beautiful islands, take into account the strong gusts of wind that walk on the open areas of the tower and deliver a lot of unpleasant moments to gawking visitors. It is noteworthy that this bridge was opened by legendary personalities Franklin Roosevelt and Mackenzie King. On our planet, there are many not only amazing islands that surprise and attract with their magnificent beaches and landscapes, but also truly creepy islands of land as well, with a territory of which the blood runs cold. And all of them hold many amazing secrets and incredible stories that attract millions of tourists like a magnet. Thank you for watching. I hope you like all the islands on this video, so give it a thumbs up. All the best, and goodbye.